Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Hafiz. In today's video, we will take a look at this Game Gear Game Boy Advance cartridge from China. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel as it will help the channel grow, thank you. The Sega Game Gear was released in 1990, making it 31 years old this year. It has a full color screen and was 8 years ahead of the Game Boy Color. There were more than 300 games released for the system such as Sonic the Hedgehog and Street of Rage. But sadly, it didn't do well as it requires 6 AA batteries and only provide 4 hours of playing time. In this video, we'll take a look at this Game Boy Advance cartridge. We built in 105 games from the Game Gear and Master Systems. A few months ago, while I was researching for Game Boy IPS screen on AliExpress, I came across this cartridge listing. The cartridge costs about $650 before shipping and it has 105 non-repeated games. I will leave the listing link in the description below for you to check out for yourself. Let's place an order for this cartridge. Delivery to Singapore normally takes about 9 days.
2 weeks later.
So it has been almost 2 weeks. The cartridge was delivered in a bubble wrap envelope. It looks and feels just like a normal Game Boy Advance cartridge. It has built-in batteries, which means that it probably have some save state options similar to the NES cartridge which I reviewed not too long ago. Click the link in the top right to watch that video. Let's test the cartridge on my modded Game Boy Advance. The cartridge loads just like a normal Game Boy Advance cartridge. Upon starting, it will bring you to the menu. As you scroll down, the game intro will be played on the background. There's exactly 105 non-repeated games in the list. I will put a link in the video description for you to see all the games listed in the cartridge. Let's play some game. Select your game and press A to load the game. Let's load Columns. Columns was released for the Game Gear in 1990. It is a puzzle matching game similar to Tetris. Pressing L and R together will activate the menu. In this menu, you are able to adjust the control setting, display and sound settings of the game. The menu also enables you to do save state. Scroll down on Save Manager. Next, press A on Quick Save States. Alternatively, while playing your game, you can press the R trigger button and select together to activate save states. Save state is useful as it enables you to save at any point during the game. To load the state, press L and R together to activate the menu. Now, scroll down to Save Manager. Press A on Quick Load State. Alternatively, while playing the game, you can always press the trigger button and the start button together to load the state. Now we are back at where we last saved. To load a new game, press L and R button together to activate the menu. Scroll to Restart. Now we are back in the menu. Let's load the Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the Master System version released in 1991. Sonic is an adventure side-scrolling platforming game where you take control of Sonic the Hedgehog as he runs through each level collecting gold rings. Let's do some compatibility tests to see if the cartridge works on every Game Boy Advance compatible handheld. First, let's try it on the Game Boy Advance SP. This is the AGS 101 version, which was the second release for the Game Boy Advance SP. This version of the Game Boy Advance SP is relatively hard to find as it has a backlight screen. The cartridge loads up as per normal. Let's play some Mega Man. The game is in sync and everything loads up as per normal. Next, let's try it on the Game Boy Micro. The Game Boy Micro was the last Game Boy released in the Game Boy series. Released in 2005, it has the smallest form factor as compared to the rest of the other Game Boy. It uses the AGS 101 screen similar to the Game Boy Advance SP. Let's play the Street of Rage. In this beat'em up game, you can choose between two former police officers as they became vigilantes to fight off the criminals syndicate that had been corrupting the local government. Next, let's test it out on the Nintendo DS. This was the Nintendo DS which I refurbished a few weeks ago. Check out the link in the description to see the refurbished video. The Nintendo DS was released in 2004 and it is one of the two DS consoles which is able to play the Game Boy Advance cartridge. Let's play the Double Dragon. This was the Master System version which was released in 1988. The game is in sync and everything looks out as per normal. Lastly, let's try it on the Nintendo DS Lite. I've recently purchased this DS Lite for $5 and will be doing a screen replacement in the future video. Do remember to subscribe to the channel as you will be notified when the video is released. Here we are playing Battletoads for the Game Gear, which was released in 1994. The game looks fine and the sound is in sync. Everything works as per normal. One more thing, will it work on the HYPERKIN RETRONSQ? The RETRONSQ was released in early 2021. The home console offers users to play their favorite Game Boy, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance cartridge on the television via HDMI. I will be releasing a review video on the RETRONSQ in a couple of weeks. Do check that video out. Let's load the cartridge into the RETRONSQ. It boots up on the RETRONSQ main menu, but sadly the RETRONSQ cannot read this cartridge. Finally, should you get this cartridge? Yes, if all you want to do is to play your classic Sega Game Gear and Master System games on the go on the Game Boy Advance. No, if you believe that Sega games should only be played on its original hardware. And no, as this cartridge does not support the game developer. In my honest opinion, the Sega Game Gear and Master System cartridge provide an alternative way to play your classic Game Gear on a more comfortable console, the Game Boy Advance. It is a good way to introduce new gamers to classic Sega games, and the biggest pro about this cartridge is that you can play your classic Game Gear games without needing to use 6 AA battery, which is required by the Game Gear. Playing it on the Game Boy Advance will only require 2 AA battery, and if you play it on the Game Boy Advance SP or the DS, it doesn't require any AA battery as the console is using a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. And there you go guys, that's my take on the 105-in-1 Game Gear Master System cartridge for the Game Boy Advance. With that, as always, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay safe everybody.